New U.S. Immigration Rules 2025, Good Moral Character, False Claims, Cross-Chargeability, and Priority Date Retention. A landscape of change. The U.S. immigration system continues to evolve in 2025. Recent policy adjustments have introduced both new opportunities and new hurdles for immigrants navigating citizenship and permanent residency applications. These changes cover key areas including good moral character, false claims, cross-chargeability, and priority date retention. Each of these has a direct impact on how applications are judged by USCIS officers. For immigrants, the difference between approval and denial may now depend on understanding these updated interpretations. Let's break down what each change really means and how it could affect future applications. Good moral character redefined. Traditionally, U.S. citizenship applicants were required to demonstrate good moral character during a statutory period, usually 5 years, or 3 in cases involving marriage to a U.S. citizen. Previously, this standard was clear and relatively straightforward. Applicants were generally expected to avoid criminal convictions, maintain lawful conduct, and ensure tax obligations were properly filed and paid in full. Now, USCIS has broadened this definition under updated regulations, creating a more holistic approach. Officers will not only consider the absence of misconduct but also weigh evidence of positive contributions. This means immigrants must now go further than simply avoiding problems. They must actively demonstrate proof of community service, educational progress, family caregiving, or consistent employment. Examples include volunteer work with community organizations, long-term caregiving for dependents, higher education achievements, or documented records of compliance with taxes over many years. Supporters argue this change highlights well-rounded applicants who are deeply rooted in their communities. However, critics warn the new criteria risk becoming overly subjective in practice. Applicants with limited resources or formal education may still embody moral integrity. Yet they might struggle to provide the type of evidence USCIS officers are now encouraged to request. Legal experts suggest this expansion could lead to appeals and challenges. Citizenship determinations should rely on objective standards, not individual interpretations that vary from officer to officer. False claims to citizenship. Another critical area affected by recent changes involves false claims to U.S. citizenship. Historically, a false claim could permanently bar an applicant from immigration benefits with very few exceptions. Under updated guidance, USCIS has clarified certain exceptions that can be considered. These include claims made by minors or claims made without intent to deceive. For example, a child completing a school form may have indicated U.S. citizen without understanding the significance. Under the revised rules, such actions may not automatically disqualify an applicant. This provides limited relief to individuals who might otherwise have been penalized for errors beyond their control. Still, the burden of proof remains high, requiring applicants to clearly demonstrate the context of their claim. Immigration attorneys warn that false claims continue to be a serious issue. Any misrepresentation connected to federal or state benefits, voting, or employment verification can still trigger permanent ineligibility. The takeaway is simple. Applicants must exercise extreme caution when declaring immigration or citizenship status in any formal context. Cross-chargeability, an overlooked opportunity. For many immigrants from countries with severe visa backlogs, the wait times under the visa bulletin remain daunting. India, China, and the Philippines are among the most heavily affected categories. Cross-chargeability provides an important but often overlooked path around these delays. The rule allows an applicant to use their spouse's country of birth if it has shorter waiting times. Imagine an Indian applicant married to a spouse born in Sri Lanka. Instead of waiting decades in the India backlog, the couple could use Sri Lanka's category for faster processing. In many cases, this can make the difference between years of waiting and immediate eligibility for adjustment of status. Yet many applicants remain unaware of this strategic option. Attorneys often describe cross-chargeability as a hidden shortcut within the immigration system. Its correct application can drastically change timelines for entire families. Applicants with cross-national marriages should evaluate this rule closely with legal guidance. Failure to apply under the right country could mean losing years of eligibility. Retention of priority dates. Priority dates play a central role in the immigration process. They mark an applicant's place in line and often determine when adjustment of status becomes possible. Normally, filing a new petition would mean starting over with a new priority date. However, long-standing rules allow some applicants to retain the earliest valid date from previous petitions. For instance, a worker with an old employment-based petition might later file under a new category. Rather than losing their place, they may carry forward the earlier priority date. This can save applicants years of waiting and provide valuable continuity when categories retrogress. Retention applies to both family-based and employment-based petitions, though not in all situations. Immigration lawyers stress that careful documentation is essential. Applicants must provide clear evidence linking their old petition to the new one for USCIS to honor the earlier date. Used properly, priority date retention is one of the most powerful tools in immigration planning. It rewards applicants who have patiently waited while providing flexibility when filing new petitions. Neighborhood checks return. Beyond these rules, the Trump administration has restored a practice not used since the early 1990s. USCIS has reintroduced neighborhood and workplace checks for naturalization applicants. Officers may now interview neighbors, colleagues, or employers to verify good moral character. Applicants may also be encouraged to submit letters of recommendation from people who know them personally. The stated purpose is to ensure compliance with statutory requirements under the Immigration and Nationality Act. Officials argue that these checks strengthen the vetting process and align with congressional intent. Critics, however, see the move as another barrier in an already complex process. They warn that such investigations may add delays and introduce unnecessary subjectivity into naturalization cases. Nonetheless, applicants should prepare for this possibility. Providing letters from employers, neighbors, or religious leaders may now strengthen an application before interviews begin. What this means for applicants. Taken together, these changes highlight a broader trend. USCIS is demanding more evidence, more community integration, and more proof of long-term ties to the United States. While certain rules, like cross-chargeability and priority date retention, provide opportunities, others increase the burden on applicants. Good moral character reviews, false claim evaluations, and neighborhood checks represent new hurdles. Applicants should approach each filing with thorough preparation. Consulting with qualified attorneys and carefully documenting contributions, history, and eligibility will become more important than ever in 2025. Closing thoughts. The immigration landscape has always been complex, but 2025 marks a turning point. The rules now reward deeply integrated applicants while scrutinizing those unable to provide extensive documentation. Opportunities remain for those who understand how to use cross-chargeability and priority date retention. Challenges persist for those navigating new moral character standards or neighborhood checks. The path forward demands awareness, strategy, and preparation. Every applicant should review these changes carefully before moving forward with their case. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for future updates. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.